Okay, so hello everyone, welcome to the episode of Connecting with Margaret Lee. This is episode number 32, and my name is Sam Lee. For those who haven't met me before, I'm the founder of Connecting with Confidence Academy, and I'll be the interviewer Margaret. So how have you been, Margaret?
Hi Sam, how are you? Thank you so much for bringing me onto your platform. I've been amazing. Just spent the morning, with a few people that I adore, connecting and sharing stories, and now here we are doing the same.
Sounds good. That's interesting. And what did you get to do over the weekend?
My weekend was fairly quiet because I was in deep trance training. So one of the things that I do in my, in my business is in holistic therapy is take people on journeys within their own unconscious mind. So deepening my own skills always adds and serves value, to, the people that I help. So that's what I was doing for the last 2 days.
That's cool. Wow, that's very hard working. And then, like what I did over the weekend was just relax a little bit and do a little bit of work. But it sounds like you're very persistent in what you do, even if you do it in the weekend. So
Yeah, well, when you find something that you love, it doesn't really feel like work. So I did mix in my training with, walking meditation during lunchtime, making sure that I got out and got some sunshine and tapped into and socialized a little as well. But
that's good. That's fine. So so tell me a little bit about yourself, Margaret. What do you like to do outside of work? What's your passions? What's your hobbies, etc.?
yeah, so I'm a bit of a mixed bag. Traditionally, in the last 20 years, before I made the decision in Feb, I actually worked in the corporate world, but
Yep.
there's an adventurous side to me. I started this journey on this path as a holistic therapist because of my own, journey within life. 4 years ago, I was that girl that was scared of, I was codependent. I didn't have any confidence. I didn't have any of those things happening within my life. And it was traveling the world that changed that for me completely. So my first trip was on my own to Israel, to the Dead Sea. And that really pushed me completely out of my comfort zone, and then led me to a path of not wanting to work in the corporate world anymore, and realizing that my passion was opening people's hearts and minds. And it was through discovering myself that it was that kind of eventuated. So my hobbies, my goodness, I'm a very outdoor adventurous person. Things like skydiving, all of those adrenaline inducing activities I love. But at the same time, to balance it all out, I also love to be amongst nature, at the beach, in a forest, meditating, or just enjoying the sounds of birds, watching the bees go by. So yeah, there's a mixed variety of things that I love to do to occupy my time.
Wow, that's very cool. So you mentioned that you were skydiving and enjoying this kind of stuff, right? Wow, I didn't even.
I didn't hear.
You mentioned that you like doing skydiving and extreme kind of go stuff. Have you done bungee jumping before?
Yes, I did that in New Zealand. So, actually, there's a funny story about why I went skydiving. I
Yeah.
used to have a fear of heights, and I thought I can't live my life in fear of anything, because that means that, something else outside of me is trying to control how I do life. And
Yeah.
that was, the first step out of that plane was quite scary. But at the same time, it allowed me to realize that we really don't have control over anything. And, in order to live the life that we want, surrender is actually the key. So, yeah, that was a big aha moment for me. And something that's come out of that is me launching a platform, which is starting, called 100 Adventures with Strangers. I want to take people out of their comfort zone to do what you're doing with people today, teach them how to connect and
Mm.
just, be who they are.
Mm. Sounds good. Well said. So yeah, like when you said about bungee jumping, skydiving, that's too extreme for me. Like because I'm afraid of heights. So if I go now, I think I'll be fainting already.
So
So
is it something that you want to face?
not really, because I got high phobia. So yeah,
I
like
can totally relate to that, because that was me as well. And I can tell you right now that once you do make the decision to maybe think about taking the challenge on,
yeah.
it will change so many things in your life, because it's directly related to other areas. And sometimes you're not even aware of that. So I encourage you to just think about maybe taking the first step.
Yeah. Adrenaline for me is driving cars, basketball for me. So in terms of the extreme, I've been doing extreme stuff kind of like I'm not sure if this counting as extreme stuff. I like going to theme parks, going to Gold Coast and doing theme parks like roller coaster, there's extreme kind of stuff. I've done it before, but then like if you go skydiving, that's like to the next level. So yeah, like I just try to avoid that if I can possible. Yeah. I might get a
Look, one place I can recommend if you do want to just push yourself a little bit out of your comfort zone is a place called Agro Ventures in New Zealand. They have it's like a theme park for adrenaline junkies,
Yeah.
but it's a little taste into what you can do and then take it to the extreme. Because I have been bungee jumping in Queenstown. That was 134 meters.
Wow.
Towards the river,
Yeah.
and I'm pretty sure people in China heard me because that's how loud I was screaming. But it was the most freeing experience of my life, and complete freedom when you've got no control.
Yeah, I guess when you break through that, it's a sense of achievement, right? It's cool.
100%.
Yeah, that's great. So yeah, so where were you? So where were you born, Margaret? And where you
Yes.
originally?
So my background is actually Cambodian, but I was born in a refugee camp in Thailand, and I actually grew up in Italy, so that was my first language.
Yep.
I came to Australia in '88, and I've been here ever since. But part of the journey of me doing what I love now and being who I am is because of the childhood that I had growing up. I think from the moment that I was born, I'm not sure if you know about the history of Cambodia, but the reason we had to flee the country was because of the Pol Pot regime. So, literally from the moment I was born into a country full of landmines. And that's kind of an amazing metaphor for life, because that's what life's all about. Life is all about dodging the landmine that people or things or events place within your path. And if you can learn how to manage your emotions and state and navigate that, that is going to change the meaning that you give to your life. And that is profound.
Sounds great. Well said. That's cool. So you came in '88. Wow, you're earlier than me. I came here when I was in 91. So it's been a couple of like over 30 years now for me. So which is cool. And so that's great. So so your passion was doing a lot of adrenaline stuff. Did I miss anything out other than?
Oh, my passions list is really long. I'm the type of person that, to be completely honest, I used to be very shy, reserved. I didn't have any confidence, didn't want to talk to people, was really awkward because I was brought up in a family where it was tiger mum, tiger dad. You get A's or you get straight A's, and that was it, right? So I never really got to explore outside of that until I hit my teenage years, where I became really curious. But, as a result of that, it got me into a lot of trouble as well, because some people don't appreciate you being curious. They think you're being nosy and judgmental. And so my point to that is I got to a point in my life where it was really awkward learning how to connect with people, because I wasn't sure who to trust and who not to trust, so the confidence in meeting new people was like, oh my God, can I trust this person? But I pushed myself out of my comfort zone after I crashed in 2017. There was some major life events that happened that caused me to take a look in the mirror and say, like, who am I? I've had this life, but who am I really at heart? And one of the things that I wanted to do was improve my memory. So what happened was I was really good at meeting people, but I could never remember their names. So I started doing something which was a bit weird. I used to take selfies with everybody because that was a trigger for me. Photographically, in my mind, I could remember the conversation if I saw their face. So that's actually how I started even coming onto social media. 4 years ago, I wasn't even on Facebook. I did not want to be on it because I was so reserved and scared and shy and all of that. But what I found is that by stepping out of my comfort zone and having the confidence to just go up to people and say, hey, who are you? Just like you did to me, Sam. I've never met you before today, but we can have a conversation about many things because you had the courage to reach out and say, what are you about? Would you like to share who you are and how did you do it? So that's exactly how I did it. I made a decision in my mind and I said, I don't want to be that awkward, migrant kid that doesn't talk to anyone and just does their maths homework. I wanted to go out and actually really experience the life and all the adventures in the journey. And it's been amazing. I've been now to 10 countries in the last 5 years before, the world decided to put us in our rooms for a while. But It's that, you know, for people listening out there, if you are scared of doing something, I can tell you right now, I've been exactly where you are right now. But the best thing you can do is just take a breath and take that first step. You know, just make the decision in your mind and do something wacky, like take selfies with 100 people so you can remember the conversation you had. And that was the first step for me anyway.
That's great. Very motivational. I like that. Straightforward. So that's good. No worries. So next question is, so why did you become a holistic therapist?
Okay, yeah, that's a beautiful question. So I haven't been to the doctor in 10 years, and there's a reason for that. You know, when I was going through the height of my lowest points in my life,
Yep.
you know, and going through depression, you know, I've been through, I survived suicide at the age of 19.
Yep.
I realized that when I started having migraines 10 years ago, the doctors prescribed to me codeine, and I wasn't a fan of it because it made me feel like I was dead inside. I literally fell asleep at my desk. So I started seeking holistic, uh, you know, therapy. I started going to an acupuncturist. I started getting cupping. I started getting into the Eastern medicine and the traditional ancient ways of life and wisdom. So in the present moment, I practice my quantum flow. I practice my meditation. I practice grounding with nature. You know, I'm learning at the moment the white tiger qigong, which I'll be teaching people as well. And I truly believe that everything that we do is powered by the one thing that we're all gifted, the breath. You know, if it wasn't for the doctors saving my life when I was a baby,
Yep.
I was born premature into a refugee camp. There was no incubators there.
Yep.
It was all the will and the breath of the life within myself that sort of, kept me going. So I realized that after saying no to the doctors and saying, no, this is not for me. I don't want to take medication to, solve something within my body. I started doing research and realizing that we have the power to heal ourselves. The best doctor is the one within your own mind. And maybe, I think for people listening, if there's something going on with your life, maybe have a big holistic view of your life as a whole. Like, I'll give you an example. There's a lot of people that I used to work with in the corporate retail asset management world that would complain about migraines, but they would also sit there and soak themselves in perfumes and makeup, things that were laden with chemicals. And I would say to them, have you tried not wearing perfume for one day and maybe drinking water? Like, because we're made up of over 70% of water, right? But none of them would be drinking the water. So it made me think, like, so if we're majority made up of water, then that, and it's as simple as drinking water, let's try that. That was one of the things that stopped me getting migraines. That was one of the things that stopped me calling in sick to work every single month. So I thought there's something in that, you know. And then I found the world of, quantum physics and consciousness and,
Yep.
all those other beautiful things like epigenetics that I absolutely love now.
Yep.
And this is what I want to teach to people. Before we had all of these things in the world, if you look at traditional Chinese medicine, it was all elements from the earth, from the ground, from, the space and environment and animals and plants around us. So the drive for me is that, I'm 40 and I've never been fitter or healthier in my life. I don't take supplements. I don't drink coffee. I do nothing except water, sleep, and holistic, energetic inner work.
Yeah. You don't look that age though. You look like 30.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and there must be something in that, because if you look at some of the eldest Kung Fu masters, they're still thriving at the age of 100 plus, when people now in the modern world in their 50s are struggling to walk down the street. So maybe there's something within that people can take away and think, oh, wow, okay, maybe I need to look at my life from a different perspective and see how I can elongate the longevity of it by doing something simple as learning how to breathe properly.
That's very cool. Nice. So yeah, what a journey you've been through. So, and what were you doing before becoming a holistic therapist? What was your
Yeah, it's funny. I just did a post on Facebook this morning about my career path. You know, I've had a few different jobs, and working within the family environment, I was actually peeling onions at the age of 8.
Yeah.
Fast forward all of that. In the last 20 years, I've been in corporate Australia. I've been working in, you know, different areas: legal, financial administration, social housing, compliance, accounting. And but what I found was that there is no there was no heart in what I was doing.
Yeah.
You know, that's it. I was just doing a job, and it sucked the life out of me. So at the start of this year, I decided, after I climbed the mountain, with no harness, I thought, if I can climb a mountain in 40-degree weather with no safety harness, and we should have had, like, you know, all the safety gear, why can't I jump off this mountain and just do what I love, which is speaking to people, connecting them to themselves, opening their heart. It's scary. Like, you have a fear of heights, right? You know, and I can blow that out of people. I can show them that there's a different perspective and give a different meaning to that. So yeah, corporate Australia has served its purpose for me. Will I never go back? I don't know. Maybe in some way or capacity I can use the skills and, you know, the things that I have now to add value in that space, which I definitely think is much needed. Because looking back on my own journey, I was suffering with anxiety and stress and no time, and I was, you know, beaten by the corporate world. Because not only that, when you're working in an environment where there's bullying, harassment, and all of these things that people don't talk about are very present, it can take a toll on you mentally, physically, and emotionally.
Yeah.
And so that was the history of, you know, the corporate career for me. And I went from earning $6 to six figures, you know, with no university degree. So if there's somebody listening out there and you're not sure about what you want to do with your life, take a breath and take the first step. You know, find something that you're truly passionate about, because it doesn't feel like work. Like, now I'm serving people and supporting them emotionally and mentally, and people that have severe, you know, disabilities. And I don't even like to call them disabilities, they're gifts. So, you know, to be able to work with people and really help them open up who they are at heart, that's what I'm passionate about. I'm not passionate about what I was doing before, which was allocating money to different accounts. And that was actually a really good vehicle to understand how the business world works, and it served its purpose. So I'm grateful for it.
That's great. Very well said. I guess I can relate to your past as well, being depressed, being anxious about your previous experiences. So yeah, that's what makes it very inspiring for you to tell it to the whole world. That's what they buy from you. So yeah, keep it up. Good work there. Good work from there. And how long have you been holistic now? A holistic therapist now?
Yeah, look, I think I've been a holistic therapist my whole life. I was always that person that people go to when, you know, somebody needed a space to be heard in. So, you know, formal training, all of that. Is there, you know, people can go out now and do like a basic NLP course and be a therapist within one day. But, you know, being a therapist is a lifelong mission. So, formally speaking, you know, a couple of years, but I don't think there's any training better than life experience itself to be able to serve. I see a lot of people out there at the moment that have really amazing marketing and branding campaigns, but then you actually get to work with them and, you know, you don't get the results that you want. So for me, it's about being in service, and I can congruently say with 100% integrity that everything that I teach, I've been through myself, and I know, you know, how to help people see that within themselves. I don't tell people what to do. You know, my job, like as a holistic healer, is introducing people to parts of themselves that they've never seen or accessed before, in order to realize what it is that they can gift.
Wow, that's great. I can relate to that as well. That's very cool. What your journey has become. That's great. So then let's move to the second last question. What's the secret behind building rapport with people? Do you have some tips or feels on how like they can socialize better with your tips, with your hints and tips?
The master tip is one of my favorite taglines. If I want to be free, I simply have to be me. And the reason that's so important is because if you're authentically yourself and you remove all the fears and judgment and expectations of other people, and you are simply yourself, you never have to keep up the charade. You never have to pretend to be anybody else. People will really get to learn and know who you are at heart. So when your name comes up, they'll know, like, for me personally, some people are like, oh, I know you as a really calm Zen person. And some people know me as, oh my God, you're like that adrenaline junkie that loves riding motorbikes and jumping out of planes, So the master tip for people that I have to really embody who they are is to be who they are.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's a scary thing because, like I had to do 4 years ago, you have to get raw and real about like the stuff that you think you were, the labels, the things that other people have labeled you with. But do the work, do the inner work, have a conversation with somebody and find out who you really are, because there are so many people that put up charades and want to fit in, but it's not about fitting in. Isn't it funny that to fit in you actually have to stand out so that people understand when they know who you are, they know exactly who they can be around you, which hopefully is themselves. So yeah, my message is if I want to be free, I simply have to be me. So just be, just be, just be you.
That all rhymes. Wow, very poetic. I like that. Yeah, that's great. So I guess it's really about being yourself, being your authentic self. So others can be inspired by you and do the same for themselves as well. So which is good. That's good. It's a great summary, Margaret. So that's cool. So this leads me to the last question. How do we find more about you, Margaret? What's your website? What social media accounts are you active on? Can you tell me a bit about that?
Yeah, social media is probably the best way to reach me, So Margaret Elisa Lee is my Facebook handle. I also have an Instagram account, which is neo_mastery. That is the website for my business. And that's under construction at the moment. So if you look for it, you won't find anything because it's not up yet. Like I said, I've been serving people without the formalities behind it because I think the easiest way to reach me is just to give me a call, send me a DM, we will connect, we can have a conversation and take it from there.
Yeah.
But also, email as well. So otherwise, if you've missed all that, reach out to Sam, you've got my details, you can put us in touch. It's super easy to find people on social media these days. And
It is actually. Yeah, that's good. So did you
I
say?
would love to hear from you. If there's something that resonated with you with part of my journey, and I really am passionate about, I'm basically unearthing that inner child within people because I believe everybody has a wild child within them.
Yeah.
And I truly think that if we all lived like that, we'd have such a better place to hang out in called
Yeah.
Earth.
That's really cool. All right. So yeah, that's great. So did you say your website was under construction?
Yes,
Yeah.
neomastery.com.
Okay, cool. All right, thanks for that. So yeah, Margaret, that leads draws to a close of the interview. I would like to speak to you further, but that's all the questions I want to ask you today. And thanks for participating. So viewers on YouTube and our podcast, you know how to connect with Margaret. She's very inspiring with her story. And if you want to connect with her, please connect her with her social media account or check out herself in our website. So yeah, Margaret, I had a good time with you, and I hope we'll keep in touch. And yeah, I'll be posting this interview probably hopefully end of this week or the earliest of this next week. So yeah, did you have any questions for me, Margaret, before we end?
No, not really. It's really hard to compress somebody's life in 20 minutes, but I am looking forward to having you on a podcast as well, because I'm really curious about learning how you became who you are before you became who you are. And for me, the journey of people and, how they eventuated within their timeline always fascinates me. I'm always connecting and meeting new people. And yeah, thank you for allowing me to come onto your platform and share. And I look forward to the next time.
Yeah, no worries. I guess we're just doing a favor for each other. So I'll do your interview first, and you'll do my interview. It's good, reciprocal, which is good. I'm excited to go into that. So yeah, Margaret, nice speaking to you, and I hope have a good weekend. And then I'll see you in the next your podcast.
Thank you very much for having me on. Thank you to all the listeners too.
No worries.